On That's Football and live on our podcast as well. What a weekend it is. Arsenal, title shot at the Etihad. No more of this parking the bus rubbish. You've got to go there and win. Draw last year wasn't enough. We'll be talking about that. We've got combined 11s. We've got is Martinelli crap. We've also got who's the better goalkeeper. We've got loads. But I don't even think it's the biggest game of the season, Will.
No, I think the biggest game of the season is going to come maybe at 5:30 down at Selhurst Park, where it could be bye-bye Ten Hag for me. He could get out-coached again. I'm excited for the weekend. Obviously, Monday we had what probably is the game of the season, I think, so far that we witnessed down at St Andrews.
Oh, shut up about Birmingham City.
I think it was great.
I do think Manchester United against Crystal Palace could be the biggest game of the weekend, even though Man City Arsenal technically is. For the simple reason, I feel that Man United are on a cliff edge where everything's going well at the moment. But if you lose to Palace, 3 losses out of 5, everyone will be singing Ten Hag out again. Also, I'm outraged. Not like me to be outraged.
Not like you.
I'm absolutely outraged. I'm bloody furious. And I'll tell you what I'm furious about at the moment. Let's just say there's a few things getting on my nerves. One's Spurs related, one's Bournemouth related, one's Leicester related, and one is Curry related.
Yeah.
Get belated, Willie. We'll talk about that in a moment. But let's start off with a conversation about football and a big game that's taking place in Manchester against Manchester City and Arsenal. We saw this game. We've seen this movie before. We saw it on Thursday night with Arsenal in Atalanta. There is no doubt that defensively they're a very, very good side. But I sense they're going to go there and play the same way as they did last season, the same way as the way they did in Italy on Thursday. And I think that whilst they can't afford to lose, and that mentality will be, I think, from Arsenal fans and Arteta to go there and just not get beat, I don't know that that will be enough in May. I don't think going to the Etihad and not getting beat is going to get you over the line. You know, they did that last year and they still lost by 2 points. I think you've got to go there with a plan to win, not a plan not to lose.
But I think they will go there with a plan to win. But I also think the timing of the fixture plays so much into it. Normally we get these in October, November time for this first round of games between the two of them. But just having it that little bit earlier, I do think that they can afford to draw, just because. And I know I'm sort of counterintuitive with myself there, but like, they have got so much more of the season to play, and those points could be costly. But I don't think it's going to be the City points that cost them. It's going to be the games like the Villa ones, like the Brighton ones in the past that have cost them. So I actually think a point at the Etihad is a very good result.
I disagree. I mean, I think if they can't get beat. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
But for me, this is a boxing match and it's a title shot, and you can't go there with I want to go the distance and have a draw on points. I think they've got to look for some knockout blows. And obviously, Odegaard's not available, but Odegaard wasn't available against Spurs. Neither was Declan Rice, and Odegaard won't be available probably till Christmas. So they'll be looking to win next week, whoever they've got. I think Man City against Inter, Haaland shut down. They struggled to score goals. Saliba and Gabriel know that they can shut Haaland down. So if I'm starting from that starting point, what I'm doing here is, and I can see Arsenal fans in the chat getting a little bit, agitated. I'm actually bigging you up. This is like you've come down the stairs in a nice dress and nice makeup, and I'm saying, what are you going to do with your hair? You look great. And you're going, well, what do you think about my dress? I think the dress looks great as well. Get confident, stupid. Like, they do have the possibility of going there and beating them, because I think that defence is so strong that they won't have problems dealing with Haaland, Doku, Savio, whoever. So if you take that as an assumption, what are we going to do to try and score goals?
But to use your boxing analogy, I almost think they need to do like a Homer Simpson and sit there, take the beating, and then just wait for City to sort of falter. And then that's when you can counter with your corner kicks or maybe get them on the counter like they did at Spurs, because this Man City side, they're going to come to win. So almost the Tottenham one was, and they're completely different sides, I know, but that's a little bit of a blueprint for me of how to go against Manchester City.
Yeah, but I think as well, Arsenal, I don't think they need to sit there and take punches from Man City, in the sense that I think defensively Arsenal are more than capable of confidently going to Man City and dealing with what they've got. But I feel even against Atalanta a little bit on Thursday, and last year at the Etihad, they almost don't attack with conviction. And it's almost like, we'll keep the clean sheet, we're happy with a 0-0. Whereas I'd like to see more on the offensive side of things, because it's difficult to go to the Etihad and get a 0-0.
Yeah, but then it sort of ties into that, doesn't it? Because, you know, the beauty of that performance against Spurs and maybe some of their more defensive ones is like the work rate Saka puts in coming back. I mean, we mentioned Martinelli, Sterling does the same stuff. So then you're almost limiting yourself going forward. And like, I didn't watch it, but no, I wasn't very happy with Kai Havertz's performance against Atalanta. And I think there's still that question over who is that outlet, because as much as people moan about Harry Kane, he's that perfect false nine to hold it up and get your wingers in. Maybe not in the Euros, but as defensively good they are, that limits them going forward, doesn't it?
Well, Grumpy Grandad is being grumpy because he says it will be a snooze fest, and it was a snooze fest last year, and it has the potential to be a snooze fest again. I don't think even the most excitable pundit like Micah Richards could build this one up. I think it will be...
It's the outcome, isn't it, that you like? But that's what the beauty of the Man City Liverpool games. They used to be 4-3s, 4-2s. They used to be, and there was obviously a few 0-0s in there, but you always got that anticipation that they were going to go at each other. Like,
but that's Arteta's fault.
Yeah,
he is the one who goes into these games very much. You know what? I said it. I remember saying this last time, so I'll say it again. I think he's too respectful of Man City. You know, he is definitely Pep's apprentice, and it's almost like, I will not try and take you on. I mean, look, he needs to be a little bit like Anakin, although he got chopped in two in Star Wars, taking on his Jedi Master.
But Anakin survived.
He did survive, and he. But
I don't know, he got chopped in two, did he?
Yeah, got slightly. Obi-Wan had the higher ground, and he attacked him.
Higher ground. Yeah, but he didn't get sliced in two, did he?
He did.
Get in the chat.
Chopped in half.
Is that why he went in that thing then?
Yeah. He didn't go in there for a laugh.
No,
he needed new legs, mate. Put me in the tank. I could do with a bath, which submerges me. Bit of Star Wars chat there. But yeah, he definitely chopped him in two. Maybe that's what... Maybe Arteta's a big Star Wars fan, and he's just like, he's got the higher ground. I'm not going to attack him. I'm just going to stay back here and, you know, shield myself from anything he tries to do to me. But I do think there's too much respect, whereas you're right, Jurgen Klopp obviously didn't have that obsession respect. He had a different brand of football, and it was like, hey, let's go. Yeah,
and it's like me trying to do a watch along on this channel, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's Master versus the Apprentice. No one's going to do it better than you on this channel. And
I wouldn't even call you an apprentice. I'd say master against
you didn't even call
amateur.
you didn't even call me a friend on the stream the other day, so I'm going down.
I did not.
Yeah, well, you took too long. So I just think that's why Arteta has got to have a plan B, because he's never going to beat Pep's plan A.
I'm on the very rare occasion, I'm actually defending Man City here in the sense that this game probably will be boring, but it's not Pep that makes it boring. I think Pep would love Arsenal to go toe-to-toe with them and try and play football, like Pep loves that if anybody does it. But Arsenal are such a blueprint of Pep because Arteta's in love with him in a footballing sense. We don't know in the other way. And it's, you know, very much... Arsenal's project is to go there and play defensive. I'd love it not to be the case, but I don't think we're going to get a classic. But what we can't get is a Man City win, because if they do win, they're 5 points clear, and it's not even October.
Well, that's the main thing, isn't it? And if we're trying to save football and the way that the Premier League has come down to those finite points at the end of the season, we need this game to be minimum draw going into it, because if we go into October's international break with them ahead,
yeah,
goodbye.
HP says Darth Maul was chopped into. He was, and somehow fell down a hole and still came back.
I think Anakin sustained serious injuries, but not to the point of
legs
chopped in half. You make him sound like a magician at like a Penn and Teller thing. My legs are over here.
Where do you draw the line? Literally, he got his legs chopped off.
Were they fully separated from his body?
Yeah, he's got bionic legs.
No, but like, don't you get involved. We'll give you a mic when you're ready.
He basically jumped up to attack Anakin. If you're not interested in Star Wars, tough. He jumped up to attack Anakin, and as he went over him, Anakin just went... And
he just he falls down the thing like that. Like,
legs are gone.
Sorry.
And then he got burnt by. It was actually quite graphic. Anyway, it could be. Let's hope it's not graphic for Arsenal on Saturday and they don't get chopped in two.
Yeah.
Sunday.
Before we get, we're going to do
a
combined 11 and look at some of the either-ors for that team as well. Daniel Sturridge.
One thing I did want to say just before you do that, because we're talking about a game that could be 0-0. Quite an interesting topic that I started. Want to get your thoughts on this. But Raya against Ederson, who thinks the better goalkeeper? I'm confidently going to say Raya.
Oh, God.
And he says, oh, God. Well, I'm not Jesus or God, but I am Mark Goldbridge, and I'm saying Raya over Ederson. I think Ederson's a good goalkeeper, but the best goalkeeper in the Premier League for me is Alisson. Raya, not just because of the Atalanta penalty, I actually said it before it on the watch-along last night, his agility to come and get the ball, to come and save the ball when he's made one save and get up is remarkable. Plus, he's a ball-playing goalkeeper. He is definitely a better shot stopper, goalkeeper, collector of the ball than Ederson. Ederson might be better with his feet, marginally, but for me, Raya over Ederson every day of the week.
I think when you say two words that come to my mind, recency bias. You've sat down last night, done the watch along, and you've seen a fantastic double save. And the second save is brilliant. But
what about the save at Villa?
It's like the Ollie Watkins one. Yeah. He's got to be doing better with the header there. So
Mikel Arteta said, and I quote,
well, he would say that.
That's the best goalkeeping save I've ever seen.
Yeah, exactly.
He's talking
Two
shit.
words again for you, Arteta. Recency bias.
He is talking shit.
I think you've watched.
No, I don't think Ederson's that good.
Well, yeah, but also that's the sum of his parts as well, because he's got a fantastic defence. Manchester City have more of the ball, so he's going to see less shots being saved. So you are definitely in full recency bias when you speak about Raya, because you've sat down, you've got it fully in your head, and I think you're absolutely talking drivel. I think it goes Alisson, Ederson, then maybe Raya.
Well, PogChamp says, what about Anana? You know what that's like? That's like debating what takeaway you want, Chinese, Indian, fish and chips, and then someone says, do you want a piece of toast? You know. And
someone says, I'm having a salmon curry.
Nothing wrong with the salmon curry. We'll talk about that in a bit. No, I think Raya over Ederson, but I actually am going to boringly go with a 0-0 in this.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What, just if you were going to put money on it, that's what you'd go for?
It can't be a Man City win. I can't see Arsenal winning. So I just think draw is the logical result.
Well, someone actually clipped together the vlog of you going Blues 3, Wrexham 1, and then did a nice music montage on TikTok the other week.
Nice one.
I'm going to go Manchester City 0, Arsenal 1. Let's have a bit of faith that Arteta can just stir something up nicely, get cooking. They take all the punches, and there's a long free kick in, and up rises Saliba 1-0.
I think if Arsenal went into that game and won it, I think they'd win the league.
I think if Arsenal went and beat Man City, they'd go and play Bournemouth away and then drop points, and then we'd be like, for fuck's sake.
No, but I think if you look at the Arsenal journey, I think there's two big games this weekend, and it just depends whether Arsenal can get the result. But if they beat Man City at the Etihad, puts them above Man City by a point. But I think this early in the season, having played your most difficult game and beat your biggest rival, they've been getting closer year on year. I think that would be the thing that made them go, right, here we go. Let's lose every Champions League game on purpose and the Carabao Cup. We're just focusing on the league. We've lost to Bournemouth.
Yeah, but the worrying thing is, though, what's like Manchester City have always started the season slowly, and then there's always been something to like spur them on. So when they first got alleged with the points, or there was an injury crisis, there's always that point around November, December, like Michael Jordan-esque, isn't it, where they get a flame up their arse and they're like, here we go. So losing to Arsenal could be a blessing and a curse, because that'll be like, right, we're not going to lose the remaining 32 games of the season. And then, it's just the devil's curse.
Second biggest game of the weekend, Man United at Palace.
Not Ipswich, Southampton?
Could be. Well, it is, in a way, if you're interested in that sort of thing. But I think Crystal Palace, Man United, 5:30 under the lights. Not quite. We're not quite lights at 5:30 yet, are we? Although they probably will put them on just for safety reasons. It's a bit... But anyway, I think this is absolutely massive, Will.
Yeah.
And not just because I'm a Man United fan, but we beat Southampton, we beat Barnsley, we've played really well, we've not conceded, we've scored 10 goals, there's real competition. It's like, who's going to start on the wing, who's going to play in the midfield? Real positivity amongst a large section of the United fan base. The external world is like, it's only Barnsley, it's only Southampton. But tomorrow against Crystal Palace, for me, is a huge, huge game. And I think it's probably the biggest game of Ten Hag's career, bar the Cup finals, because if you lose it, 3 out of 5, it's probably looking at Ten Hag out again, big time. If you win it, Crystal Palace, for me, are a respectable team in the Premier League that if you go and win there and play well, I think people will look at them and go, oh, things might be changing. It's probably going to be a draw now.
I think relax. Don't do it. Because the way Crystal Palace have started off, like, you should be expected to win this game. But then I just worry about we spoke about it with Southampton. I read an article today.
Whoa. We should be expected to win this game.
Yeah.
I think Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park is a difficult game for everybody apart from Man City.
Yeah, but that, on a traditional sense of this thing, you have to judge
I
it
think
by...
you've got to beat them if you want to get top four, but that's not what Man United have been. So I think if we go... What I'm saying is if we go there and draw, I don't think it's a terrible result.
What's happened?
No, I'm just saying, in the
What's happened
context
to
of
Man
Manchester
United?
United, I get confused by the external voice because
all right,
people
yeah.
are now saying, oh, you should go and beat Crystal Palace. We finished 8th last year. We've not been in the top four for 50% of the last decade.
Yeah.
And people are going, you should go and win at Palace. But Palace is a difficult game for Chelsea, Spurs, Arsenal, Newcastle, Liverpool.
Yeah, last season, yeah, right, but we can only judge on the first 4 games of the season, right?
It's a difficult game.
They've not won a game.
It's a difficult game.
They've not won a game this season. In the last minute, they scraped a point against Leicester, who you said are dead
know
and
what
buried.
you're doing.
What are you doing? Know what I'm
When
doing?
we win 4-0 on Monday, it's only Palace.
Well,
it's only
yeah,
Crystal Palace.
But this is the thing, isn't it? Like, I read an article today
Eze,
about Rashford.
Mateta,
yeah.
Wharton,
Play for Crystal
Doucouré,
Palace. Yeah, yeah.
Quehi, Mitchell, Henderson, Lacroix.
Where do you want to finish this season? Where do you think Man United should finish this season?
Top
of the league? Top half?
Top half of the league. Yeah.
5th, 6th?
4th.
4th. Right. But you
Yeah, you have got to go and win this
yes,
game.
exactly.
But
And I think they should win this game.
Yeah, I do as well. But I'm not saying you're talking like it's only.
I'm not saying it's only part. I'm saying they've got to go there and win. But my big worry is everything that we've seen from Eric Ten Hag, apart from when he's faced Russell Martin and the Barnsley manager, is I do worry that he could still be outcoached by Glasner on Saturday.
Tez says Mark lowering standards so he can cash in. How does that work?
That's what you're doing.
How am I lowering standards to cash in?
1 minute you're saying you're not going top 4, then you say you're top 4, and then you're saying Crystal Palace is a hard place to go, but then you're saying you should win.
No.
You're talking in riddles, man.
I'm not talking in riddles. Man United should
Tom Riddle.
win. Man United will win, but it's a massive game because Crystal Palace I respect, and it's a difficult place to go.
Yeah.
It's a real test. Barnsley at home's not a real test. Southampton's not a real test. This is a real test.
Last season...
I think on Monday I will be going, right, give me some praise, and I will pass it on to Manchester United because they deserve praise for winning at Crystal Palace. It's a big game. Nobody's going to be able to go, it's only Palace, because Palace are a good side.
I'm not saying...
I'm not saying, oh, yeah, easy.
But I don't think it's one fast on the scale or the others. Like it's a hard place to go.
This is the sort of place Man United will lose.
Yeah, exactly. But if you win, I think it's what we spoke about with Southampton. It's a step forward. Yeah. It's not a long
Spurs
jump
next
forward.
week, and
Exactly. If you beat Spurs, then we go.
I feel like a manager. We'll just take it. We're only as good as our last game, and we'll take it one step at a time.
Well, yeah, but that's what I mean.
And as long as we're moving forward,
yeah,
we're not going backwards.
If you win 1-0 at Crystal Palace, that is a good result.
Ten Hag, let me do the press conference.
It's not a great result. If you beat Palace 1-0, that is a good result, not a great result.
Yeah, all I want is a good result.
No, but that's what will happen. Everyone will be, you'll be doing your thing at the end.
I'd rather win playing badly than not than
exactly.
lose playing badly.
But I just think it's everything around it, like the noise that Rashford article in the Athletic this week, like all signs is coming back, and the performances were against Barnsley and Southampton. So it's like everyone just relax a little bit. Like you're gonna have to have these expectations, and you're gonna have to deliver on them. It doesn't mean you're good or bad. Just everybody relax.
I think it's a massive game.
It is a massive game.
I'm going to go with the Man United win.
I'm going to go with a real difficult place to go. I'm going to go with the Palace win.
But there's nothing.
No, I'm joking. No, I think Man United should win that.
I think you're disrespecting Palace.
What's going on?
I think you are. I think they're a good.
What did you just say? You said Man United are going to win.
They will win.
Well, why can't I say that?
What's your score prediction?
1-0, Man United.
That's more like it. I thought you were going, easy win, 5-0.
No, I'm not doing that.
Oh, you just like the media.
I've never said that. You're like the media. Talking in riddles.
Like actually, talking about
I hate it here.
Outrage 1. I'm outraged by this. Absolutely no mention in the media this week about Bournemouth. Who are they playing at the weekend, Bournemouth?
Liverpool away, tough game.
Liverpool away. Conceivably, Bournemouth could get relegated. Howard Webb has basically admitted they should have 2 more points. That handball we spoke about a couple of weeks ago against Newcastle, basically the last chance of the game that went in. We all said, there's no way that's a handball, it's hit his shoulder. They've finally reviewed it on PGMOL Watch with Owen and Webb said that goal should have been given. There was no need to overrule the referee. It wasn't clear and obvious, and you've got to go with the on-field referee. I listened to the audio. These prats are going, factually a handball. It wasn't factually a handball. It hit his shoulder. And Bournemouth have therefore been deprived of 2 points, Will. Yeah. And there's absolutely no mention of it.
Well, yeah. So
absolutely no mention of it at all. I'm driving over here. You got Jim White sticking up, having a pop at Steve Cooper because he's moaning about the PGMOL, going, these guys are doing the best they can. Well, they're not doing the best they can, Jim. They're not doing the best they can. They're sticking their nose into something they don't need to stick their nose into and costing a Premier League club 2 points. If they get relegated, are we going to get to a point where we could end up with litigation? I don't want to see that. I bet you don't want to see that.
No, I don't want to see that.
It's as clear as day. If that was Liverpool or Arsenal, quite rightly, there'd be uproar from a bigger club with a bigger fan base. Bournemouth have been robbed of 2 points. Yeah. It's not speculation. It's not conspiracy. It's a fact. 2 points for Bournemouth gone, factually, already.
Yeah, Howard Webb said there was a lack of conclusive evidence to rule it out. And basically, we all know goals are checked by the VAR to see if there's any reason why the goal couldn't be awarded. One of those reasons is if the ball directly hit the attacker's arm and directly in the goal and scores immediately. In this situation, the ball strikes the striker somewhere in the shoulder, upper arm area. It's hard to be conclusive to exactly where the VAR looked at it and decided, in his professional opinion, that it hits the area of the arm that has to be penalised. That's the important reference point. I don't think that's conclusive enough to intervene.
Well, the funny thing is, is if you listen to the audio, it's scary. You know, we talk about people doing their best. Look, get me down to London tonight. I'll go on stage and do Phantom of the Opera. I'll try my best. It'll be absolutely shit. I guarantee it'll be shit. I'm not interested in... Since when do we care about people trying their best?
I'm trying my best.
Best in class, not trying your best. And... they stuck their nose in. I've listened to the audio. The on-field referee's given it. Newcastle think it's a goal. Bournemouth think it's a goal. Everyone in the crowd thinks it's a goal. And then you've got Prats or us going, factual handball. Factual handball. That's their wording. Factual handball.
But then what does that...
I'm not defending that. I know why they defend them in the media, because they have their fortnightly meeting with the PGMOL, and it's like, we need a little bit of positivity. We saw it last year with Neville and co. Like, they're not allowed... It's almost like, I think in those meetings, they're saying, let's just go a little bit light on them, you know, which is fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I think there has to be another side. And the other side is, this is dangerous. I understand. I'd never want to see litigation against referees or anything like that. I think that's a dangerous world to go down. Ultimately, these types of decisions create conversation. But when you're sticking your nose into something that actually protocol is saying go with the on-field referee, and then a team's being lost 2 points that could get them relegated, I think it's a disgrace. I think it's an absolute disgrace that Sky, Lineker and co haven't mentioned it, because it's massive. Put that in your podcast, Gary.
Which one?
I'm going to use that. I'm going to T-shirt. Put that in your podcast, Gary.
Chat on podcast.
Yeah,
that's the phrase. Well, also, it's quite worrying, and it ties back to a point that we keep bringing up every time when we speak about referees, especially with those type of decisions where it gets very like hands-on when there's no need to be. Very much like the Eze free kick at the start of the season when the referee's got a blow too early, and then the VAR with this one. It just feels it ties back to that, like the type of referees that we're attracting.
Yeah,
like the narcissists, they've got to be involved in it all the time. They have to put their 2 penneth worth in, when really to overrule that and be as conclusive, and even if Howard Webb's saying it's not conclusive, they've got it wrong, and they don't need to get involved with that at that level. So just relax. But they want to have their say.
Well, every time you listen to the audio VAR, even the Declan Rice yellow card one, it's like a fucking, you know, have you ever been down the pub with like 5 mates and you're talking about something everybody wants to talk about? And everyone's trying to get their word in. I mean, it's just chaotic. Oh, yeah. It's absolutely chaotic. I still stand by a very intelligent point, and a lot of people agreed with me on Monday. The most obvious thing to do is to separate officials on the pitch and officials in the VAR, and they don't know each other and they don't socialise, because you get far more professionalism. Like when I used to work in the police and I was out there in my police car going round job to job, the control room were controlling it from the computer. I never saw them. Because it was from like the edge of Birmingham in a control centre. I never saw them. I was working in Birmingham City Centre. So there was conversation and there was like, have you got this? Have you got that? But we didn't know each other, and it was very professional. This lot, one's on VAR 1 week, one's on the next. It's just Howard Webb. It is such an open goal. Separate the 2 jobs, separate them as friends, make them 2 entities who are singularly accountable and have their own performance review. at the moment it's mashed together and it's just mates rates, and it's like a chat down the pub. Look after yourself, mate. You look after yourself. He's left you with no choice. Oh, what are we having for dinner? Shall we have a pizza? Yeah, lads' night tonight. It's your round, Jim.
Well, yeah, and that's why it's important, isn't it? Because of the comments Mike Dean made at the start of last season when he was in his new media role, and he was like, I've been in the VAR room and seen decisions made, and I've tried to help my friends out, and ultimately that's...
Did you hear the Clattenburg one this week where he's... Oh, this is a great one, actually, while we're talking about referees. Clattenburg, who obviously was one of the top Premier League referees at one point, basically said in the Milan-Liverpool game that the home crowd's getting on the back of the referee a little bit.
Took a few yellows
He
out.
needs to give a few free kicks to them.
Yeah.
Now, we've always caught... We know this happens, but... You know, it's amazing.
I don't have too much of a problem with that, though, because I do feel that's a bit more common sense. And if
it's always gone on.
And it's always gone on.
It's like the advantage of being at home, isn't it?
And if it's like free kicks with no punishment, I just think maybe it's a bit smart, like the way that the game got away from the referee in the Spurs one, Jared Gillett.
Yeah.
Like that, maybe like if he just needed to calm down and do that rather than handing out yellows, I'd do that.
Well, no, I'm actually not criticising Clattenburg. I'm saying it's honest, but that's what I mean. Let's not, you get like Jim White saying, these people are doing their best. Well, they're not doing their best because we all know that there are referees that will give home decisions because it's at home. We know the intricacies of football. All we're asking for is we know there's going to be mistakes, but don't make mistakes on things where you shouldn't make a mistake. Yeah. That's what we're saying. Want to talk about Spurs next?
Man United and Spurs we've got down here.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about Spurs because look, this is what we're here to do. Say it how it is. Get your comments in. Will Mark said you drink like a pig, says Ahmed. What's this rubbish? I've never heard anything about it. What's he on about? I don't know what he's talking about.
Why do I drink like a pig?
I don't know what he's talking about.
I can tell me you're a big fucking mate.
He's just a troublemaker. Get rid of Ahmed. I want to talk about Spurs because Brennan Johnson, friend of the channel, did an interview with you. He doesn't think you drink like a pig.
What do you do?
No, I don't know what it's all about. Anyway, he said, I saw this clip. I didn't watch the game because I was watching Inter against Man City, I think. I wish I was watching Man City Leicester. It was quite a decent game.
Tottenham.
End of the game. Tottenham, Leicester.
Coventry.
Tottenham, Coventry.
We'll
get there in the end.
Your favourite team in the Championship.
And it would have been a bad loss for Spurs. I thought it was going to go Spursy. But I saw this clip at the end of the game where Brennan Johnson scored, I think, and then Son's taken him to the crowd, and he's absolutely shitting himself.
Right.
He's absolutely terrified of that crowd, and I think Son's taking him over there because he's the captain, giving him some applause.
He's just scored the winner.
The fans are applauding him, but you can tell he's absolutely terrified of that crowd. And you know what? I just felt really bad for him because I'm not a Spurs fan, and obviously Spurs... Look, I've criticised Man United players, and it's an interesting topic, isn't it? Because I've got to take responsibility for the fact that I've said some stuff about Man United fans, players. But when I'm at a game, I don't agree with booing. I don't really agree with it. I don't. I know some people do, but actually at a great... Look, it's like being on Twitter, isn't it? And you can say things on Twitter that you wouldn't say in the street. And in the ground... I don't know. Is there something going on with Brennan Johnson with Spurs fans because he looked terrified? And I think it's a shame because I actually think he's a good player. I've seen him this season. He looks a little bit more bulkier. Look, he ain't playing at the level that you'd want him to play. I get that, but I definitely think he's got the. He almost looks like a little bit different physicality-wise this season, and I think there's a good player there. But Spurs fans clearly, I don't know, there must be a bit of an issue.
Well, and also it's like the thing where if you are playing bad, someone's got to be the fall guy for that, and sometimes it's the people you least suspect. And I think with the way that you speak about it, from the way you have to, it's hard, isn't it? Like especially the industry that we work in, because I'm a fan. But then sometimes you get to meet the people that maybe you have criticised. But then I think we're in a day and an age now where these players should realise, like, it's not just like newspaper columns, is it? There's minute by minute coverage of football going out every day, and I think the younger players definitely are more aware of, like, right, I know someone said this, but as long as it's not like a barrage of abuse or like a personal vendetta, I think the players understand it. With the Johnson one, it just feels maybe it's just getting to him, and at the moment, which is understandable if you're a young player.
Astro says apparently he's quit Instagram because of the hate he was getting. It was just some idiots making things too personal on Instagram. Yeah, well, look, we're all individuals. Some people can deal with it.
Would you? I wouldn't have social media if I was a player.
No.
Because I don't think you can win, because like you put out like, oh, great game today, but then you don't put out something and it's like, Well, like Ben had when he was at Wrexham, and like you obviously lose, and they don't want to put out a vlog, and it's like, yeah, understandably so. But some people just don't get that, do they?
You're shit. You're the worst keeper in the world. Spaghetti hands.
And that was just you.
Get back on your bike.
Yeah,
that was just me.
They're all here from Mark.
Yeah, they're all from Mark. Banter.
It says Mark said you slurp water like Shergar. I'm a slurper, to be fair. That is spot.
I didn't say it. Didn't say Shergar anyway. But I think, look, I'm not. It's just it was just one that caught my eye this week. I'll tell you what did also catch my eye this week. They're so slow in the mainstream, aren't they? I'm going to shout out fans here. They're so bloody slow in the mainstream. Shearer this week talking about... Today. Shearer today talking about just take shots from outside the box. It's what we want to see. We've been talking about this for about 8 months. Yeah. You've got a great stat, though.
Yeah, I've got a great stat. So basically, last year was the lowest amount of long-range goals the Premier League has ever seen.
Yeah.
It was almost half of the one from the highest amount in 2006, 2007. Quiz question for you all. Everybody listening in, you can have a go. There's one player who's still playing that's in the top 10 of goals outside the box.
Still playing?
Still playing.
In the Prem?
In the Premier League. Just have a little think. Let's get your answers in the chat as well. Who do you think...
Most goals from outside the box?
Yeah.
Trent?
No, incorrect. So we'll go through the top 10. Number 1 has got 41 goals.
Just do the top 5.
Okay. Number 1, who do you think is number 1?
Trent.
Frank Lampard.
He's not still playing?
No, there's one player in the ultimate list.
Oh, right, okay.
Who do you think that is?
Yeah.
Get your answers in. Of all time, Lampard, 41, Beckham, Shearer, Floyd Hasselbank.
Yeah, he's not still
Steven
playing.
Gerrard.
Yeah.
The one who's in the top 10 is...
Go.
Kevin De Bruyne.
Oh, yeah, it makes sense.
No, I had a good guess. James Ward-Prowse.
PFPL has got it. Well done. You're the first one I saw. But look, we are here to say football as football fans. We're not going to claim it as...
Who do you think's got the highest ratio of...
I'm bored now. We are here to say football as football fans, and I think we can claim this. We've been talking about it on this podcast specifically for nearly a year, that football has been diluted by certain styles of football where people aren't taking people on and people aren't shooting as much. I mean, some City fans have been talking about Savio and what a player he was last year, and now he's sort of gone a bit down the Grealish route where he won't take people on and he's passing. Well, I expect that. That's the sort of style of football that Pep plays. But, Shearer coming out today, starting to try and claim the revolution of the change of football. Shut up, Shearer. Isn't there some stat about we've had quite a lot of shots from outside the box already this season?
Yeah, so this is the best start to the season in over 12 years in terms of shots from outside the box.
I think football fans need to claim that. Well done. I think players are listening. I do.
Well, the article was
not necessarily to this, but I think they are aware that football fans... Look, if you're playing the game and football fans are going to like it if you score a goal from outside the box or take people on.
When you get the shoot.
You're going to go...
Well, where were we Monday night? What a great goal from outside the box that was.
Yeah.
What a strike. Exactly. But it goes into basically a player's almost in their mind thinking about the XG or thinking about this is not a good place to shoot from anymore because they're so... I mean, you look at when players come on and the coaches have got the iPads out and they go, right, just look at these 25 sheets before you come on. They're so well drilled. It's like you would be like a robot going on. So don't be robots.
Great question from the chat here. I knew it was coming. Would Haaland start for Arsenal? I know what you're going to say.
Yeah. Please don't be silly. Just have a little think, have a rest.
I think of the views.
I'll have a little Shergar of me water.
Would Arsenal start Haaland? No. He wouldn't even get on the bench. He is overrated. No. I actually am going to break the mould here. Of course he would. And the reason I don't think he'd start for Liverpool. I've said that before. But he would start for Arsenal because Arteta loves Pep things. So if Arsenal got hold of Haaland, he would start him 100%. And I think the way Arsenal play, it would suit Haaland. I actually think it's the thing Arsenal are missing, whether it's an Ollie Watkins, an Isak, a Haaland. I think most people would agree. Even bloody Piers Morgan agrees. So it's a bloody easy take that Arsenal with a prolific striker is the missing piece. A lot of people feel that is. So Erling Haaland would work in an Arsenal system, yes. I don't think he works in every system. And we saw that again. I mean, that debate's come back again, hasn't it? He was looking at 3 hat-tricks in a row last week, wasn't he? He only got 2 against Brentford. But definitely the world's best striker, but also can be kept quiet. And then it always rears its head. he's limited. I don't think he's limited. It's a bit like saying, Ederson's still a good goalkeeper. He's not as good as Raya, but he's not busy. So you don't get to demonstrate. If you're playing in goal for Bournemouth, you're going to be a lot busier than you are if you're playing goal for Man City. And it's the same for Haaland. He is a world-class striker. It's not a weakness that he needs service. No. It's like saying Messi was shit. Well, he had no touches. Well, he's shit then. No, you got to give him the ball for him to be good. And I think with Haaland, you can keep him quiet, but that's not necessarily his fault. Erling Haaland's never going to run to the halfway line, get the ball, skip past everyone, play a 1-2 and score. He has to get the ball in certain areas to show his world-class ability. He might not score at the weekend, but I guarantee if he doesn't, people will be going, Haaland's easy to keep quiet. He's not. Bloody not easy to keep quiet. It's very hard. Give the credit to the defenders, but still world-class. Would start for Arsenal, yes.
Yeah, there's a few ones that we didn't pick up, but we wanted to have a look at maybe a combined 11 for City versus Arsenal.
Oh, that sounded like a death cry. Oh, fell down a cliff. Raya in goal.
No, come on. You're being silly.
Well, you do yours.
No, you do. You all right?
Am I doing mine?
We'll go 1 for 1.
Raya in goal.
Ederson in goal.
Okay. Ben White right back.
Kyle Walker right back.
White's better than Walker.
No, he's not.
White's better than Walker. Walker's just pace.
Walker is
White with Walker's pace would be the best right back in the world.
But that's
Walker with White's ability would be better than he is now.
That's like going Ederson with bigger hands would be better. Like Walker's pace is attributed to him.
It's 2-0 to me now.
It's not 2-0 to you. It's not a competition.
Saliba and Stones.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Left back. It's got neither of them have got a left back. I
probably stick Vardiol in there.
I think Timber.
He's
more of a left back.
You've not seen enough of Timber to put him in over.
I watched him at Ajax.
Bollocks, did you?
I watched him at Ajax.
Bollocks.
I did because he nearly came to Man United. He was playing at centre back, and I'm very surprised he's gone to left back. But because of his height, it will work. I think he's a better left back than Vardiol.
Absolute manure, Vardiol.
So Rodri,
Rice, Odegaard.
I wouldn't play two.
Rodri, yeah, but then you got to play Rodri, Rice.
De Bruyne. I still think Rodri, Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne is a very difficult midfield to break.
Rodri,
Bernardo Silva, and De Bruyne. I know he doesn't do it as much, but I still think that's Man City.
I do Rodri.
Well, you could even put Gundogan in.
I do Rodri, De Bruyne, Odegaard.
Yeah, I like that. Right wing, Saka.
Yeah. Haaland up front.
That's the weakest handshake ever, isn't it? It's like,
Foden.
Let's not bother. Have you ever met a celebrity with a weak handshake?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Tyson Fury.
Has he got a weak handshake?
Well, he wasn't very bothered, I don't think.
Tyson, if you want the date to come, he will say it to your face, and I will film it.
Doesn't mean he's a bad person.
That'll get your views.
Doesn't mean he's a bad person.
He's one of the hardest men in the world. And you've just said he's got a weak handshake.
I was number 8 interviewer.
Will Brazier's weakest celebrity handshake is Tyson Fury. Let's clip it and put it out there and tag Tyson in it. Well, Tyson, get in contact. This would be great content. Weakest celebrity handshake. I'd love to say it's one of the Garys, but I've never been in the same room.
No.
I would say probably. I don't want to get in misfits. Come back. I know somebody, but come back to me on that one.
Why are you being so scared? I've literally called out the hardest man in the world, and you weren't even saying influencer.
I've got a few. I'm trying to think who I'm going to say.
Absolute bottle, innit? Let's do Haaland in the middle, Foden on the left. No,
Haaland up front, and you're accommodating Foden on the left. I don't think Foden's best. I don't agree in shoehorning better players in out of position. So I would say I would go off the left with Trossard. What?
Is that your answer for weakest handshake, or your actual answer for left wing?
He said Doku.
Why are you being silly now?
Mark Clattenburg. He had a weak handshake.
Did he?
Yeah.
That's fine. Why you look so nervous saying that?
He's in the Gladiators.
What do you mean, Mark? I've not got a weak handshake, man.
He's got the Gladiators behind him now.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, Tyson Fury's got the Fury family. Doesn't mean he's a bad person. He just had a. Maybe I went in limp.
I love Tyson Fury to tell you off.
Tell me. You've been a very naughty boy.
You'd shit yourself.
You've been a very naughty boy.
You absolutely would. What other games have we got for the weekend?
Well, it's quite a good weekend in terms of it might not be eye-catching, but West Ham Chelsea at 12:30 could be one that sort of steals.
We just haven't answered the question, have we? What was you going to ask me about Tottenham and Man United?
Who's going to finish higher this season? Out of Tottenham, Manchester United, Mark, who do you think is going to finish higher this season?
I feel this is going to get clipped.
Wow, could do.
I think Manchester United will finish above Tottenham this season.
You're
and I think the reason for it is that, well, it all depends about this weekend. I mean...
Really? This weekend already?
No, what I'm saying is if Man United can't beat Palace, then you feel that the season's going to be shit.
But don't you think having that level of like nervousness going into a game against Palace says a bit how you feel about Ten Hag?
I think we've had so many false dawns. It's about, I believe that this team has the potential to be better than what it is, and I think Spurs have got the potential to be better than what they are as well. But I think Manchester United, when they start to believe, have won trophies, have got top four, whereas I think Spurs, Ange has this thing going on with Spurs where he's almost battling his own fan base. I think at Manchester United, the fans want to get the standards back. Ten Hag wants the standards back, and there's a little bit of a mistrust maybe about whether Ten Hag's the guy. Whereas Ange seems to be fighting against Spurs fans on he wants to be somewhere, but Spurs fans are almost like, yeah, but we don't mind losing if Arsenal don't win the league. And it's like that. I think Spurs have almost got to beat the devil within to start competing at the highest level, whereas with Manchester United, they're desperate for it. It's just about getting it right on the pitch, whereas I think Spurs have this identity problem. But I do concede that it's a very interesting conversation about who will finish higher in the league, Spurs or United, because Spurs finished higher than United last year. They're a very good team, and I do think that they're going to batter somebody at some point, and Man United play Spurs next weekend. So this could be clipped very, very quickly and bite me in the arse.
Well, I think
when I said Martial was a better striker than Kane a few years ago.
Good God. I'm glad I didn't know you then.
Yeah, but you can get things wrong.
Yeah, you can. And it's good to admit you're wrong. I know, but I really
had a choice between you and Jack, mate, for the podcast.
Yeah.
Jack said he couldn't travel as much. I'd have paid for it now.
Hey, well, yeah, if you knew I drank water, you might have changed your mind.
Jack could be begging to do this now. He's proper fell off. What does he do? What's he doing now?
What are you on about?
I never see him anywhere.
Literally top 5 podcast every week.
I have noticed that, to be fair. Who was I talking about the other day that I never see?
Do you want to call him out for misfits or something?
No, I like Jack. But no, I'm glad to hear he's doing well. You know, I always want people to do well. But what I'm saying is, have you noticed in the modern world, and I'm sure the viewers are as well, think of somebody that you used to see on your timeline quite a lot and then go, this will work, and you go, hold on a minute, I haven't seen them on my timeline for ages. There's a few people who are still doing content, but I never see them on my timeline. We were talking about someone the other day. Who was it? I said I never see any of their clips. They never appear on my timeline.
Can't remember.
I think it was Thogden.
Oh yeah, we were saying about Thogden.
He's still doing stuff.
Yeah, he's still doing well.
Like a year or two ago, he'd be always on my YouTube stuff.
Jack's not fella.
I never see him at all. Last time I haven't seen Thogdad on a clip for years.
Yeah, but he's distanced himself from Thogdad.
So they fell out
professionally. Yeah, Jack's. I mean, he's in the beauty spot. He's got a great podcast which everyone listens to.
He's got it going on.
Yeah,
in more ways than one.
Exactly, lovely stuff.
Lovely partner.
Yeah, it's getting weird now.
I'm talking about Stevie.
Tottenham.
It's just had a massive shout out. Hopefully that he did say I fell off a little bit. Can you give us a shout in the podcast?
Did he?
No, he didn't. What other games have we got going on? You did say Ipswich Southampton.
Sorry, let me finish, please.
That is a massive game.
Spurs, I think, will finish higher than Manchester United.
Okay.
Just because I think Ten Hag's spinning too many plates. I think there's this thing that we're on a precipice with of they didn't want him in the summer, and if he loses 3 out of the first 5, I think he'll be gone. And then it's can Ruud do a better job?
I genuinely think I don't get nervous, but on the watch along tomorrow on the United stand at 5:30, I will be very nervous in that game. I really do feel like every club gets 1 or 2 of these a season where it's more than a match. And I think if we lose tomorrow, I can't hide from the fact that we've lost 3 out of 5. It's horrific. If we win tomorrow, it's like the game that it's like a 6-pointer, isn't it? It makes a big difference either way. So I'm looking forward to that. But I am going to give a bit of focus to the bottom half.
What about the table?
No, I think...
and we're sponsored by Manscaped.
Ipswich Southampton is massive. It can't be a draw. Yeah. One of them's got to win that. Like, I've said it before, they're all going to go down. Ipswich, Leicester, Southampton are all going to go down unless they can't keep having these. Oh, that's a good point. I mean, Ipswich did it last week at Brighton. Great point.
That is a good point.
But you've got to beat Southampton then.
I think Ipswich will beat Southampton.
They've got to. I think Ipswich have got the best chance of everybody to stay up.
If I was a Southampton fan, I'd be tearing my hair out with Russell Martin. Just like, I know we spoke about it the other week going into the Man United game, but just the Brentford one where you could conceivably definitely get a point, maybe 3 if you played well. Like just some of the structure of the play and just the way that they were so fast of like sticking to this philosophy. You've got to change. And also, there's been so many examples of this where it just doesn't work. Like, great, you've got a philosophy, but just change it. And I think that's where McKenna will come in and win.
I've just seen we don't normally get poets in the chat, but Ladios has just said, I don't know when he's talking about me or whether it's him, because I agree with this. He says, I want people to do well as long as I'm doing well in the first place.
That's very true.
I actually agree with that.
I think that's a very 2024 mentality.
Yeah. I want people to do well as long as I'm doing better.
Yeah, but good ships rise tides all round.
Yeah. But I don't want people to do well if I'm not doing well. At least I can admit it.
I don't think that's the case for you. You're a nice man, really.
Yeah, but if I walked in before the podcast and you went, look at such and such, they've just had 1 million views and you know, we're falling off, I wouldn't sit there and go, oh, well, we've had a good run. I'd be like...
No, but that's different. That's work.
I'd be like, right, get me on Misfits.
Yeah. Somebody out.
Call out the biggest one you can.
Fury.
They will do it.
And then you put me in there instead.
Yeah.
Just a few ones that we mentioned. Daniel Sturridge says, keep talking about Birmingham will. Lower league matches much better and more real than these billionaire prats in the Premiership. And he also said, you missed my member milestone message. So sorry about that.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about that, yes.
What else have we got in the Prem?
Then we got a Midlands derby. It's Aston Villa versus Wolves. Going to be interested to see how Villa react to Champions League football.
You've jinxed Wolves.
Well, not jinxed Wolves.
You put them in a relegation battle. I can't believe it.
Yeah, they're in it.
They're a good team. Like I watched them against Newcastle.
They're a great team, Mark. They're unbelievable.
No way.
One of the best teams I've ever seen in the Premier League.
I know a Wolves fan, and they said to me they were hoping for top half of the table. I thought they were getting a little bit ahead of themselves, but mid-table comfortably. They play good football. But you know what? A string of bad results can turn into a crisis very quickly, especially if you watch That's Football. One bad result and you'll get Wolves in crisis. But no, I wouldn't do that. It wouldn't get the views. But I hope that Wolves turn it around. And from a Man United point of view, as much as I like Villa, this would be a night. I think this has got a 1-1 written all over it.
Well, yeah.
Is it at Wolves?
No, it's at Villa.
Ooh.
It's just going to be interesting to see what he does with the team, how much he changes it. And so it's no Champions League next week, is it?
No, it's a week off for Villa.
So,
no, Carabao Cup probably. Yeah.
Well, you could, yeah.
Is it Saturday?
You'd focus on the Wolves, 3 o'clock. Which is quite strange.
And they played Young Boys on Tuesday.
What about the team?
Hilarious. I think that might be a draw there. But is there not an interesting game on Saturday lunchtime? West Ham Chelsea.
Yeah, we said that.
No, we haven't done West Ham Chelsea.
We did.
You need a bloody brain test.
Well,
mate.
I mentioned it, and then you went off on a tangent about weak handshakes.
I think this is.
West Ham Chelsea is a very good, and I think that's why Wolves have been most worried because probably their worst performance of the season was against Chelsea, who were not exactly pulling up trees, and they conceded 6 against them. So Chelsea West Ham
were very lucky against Bournemouth last week.
Yeah.
Bournemouth were kicking themselves. The points Bournemouth have dropped already. They should have got something out of Chelsea. The PGMOL have done them out of 2. I mean, Bournemouth could have another 10 points.
Yeah, they're still mid-table with 5. But yeah, West Ham have had a sort of, I think with all it's a classic football manager case. You buy a load of players in the summer. It takes a while for them to gel. They still might not be good. And we still need to see the evidence of that.
I find Chelsea a little bit weird because obviously Noel have lost with Jadon Sancho, but I still don't really understand how they're going to make this all work because Madueke obviously played well in that game against Wolves. Neto, I think, is a fantastic player. Wolves connection again.
And Cuckoo's been coming off the bench.
Loves dogs. Wolf connection. I'm trying to get everyone a connection with Wolves. Sancho, Mudryk. More and more I'm starting to think, is that Neto signing a bit odd? Because
Sancho one's really weird as well.
Like you're obviously, I think he's desperate to get Sancho in the team because it just feels like feels like Maresca's just wants to prove Ten Hag wrong. It seems like something going on there. Madueke needs to start, so Neto's on the bench, and you've just spent that amount of money on a player from Wolves who I think is very, very good. But I fancy. West Ham haven't had a great start to the season, even though they won the transfer window. I always say that. You can win the transfer window, but not necessarily do that well. I feel West Ham need to not get beat in this game. Otherwise, they start to put a bit of pressure on themselves, and we know how difficult the Premier League is. But I think that result for Chelsea last week against Bournemouth will give them a lot of belief because they shouldn't have won it, and they did. That gives a lot of, winning when you're not playing that well. I think Chelsea will beat West Ham.
I think it'd be.
I think it could be like 2 or 3-0 in first half.
It's just interesting, isn't it? Because like it's a classic case for West Ham. They've done it with Pellegrini, haven't they? Like when they originally got rid of Moyes. I think that was the way they did it anyway. Try and find a new attacking manager to play this style of football. But when the results don't come, that's ultimately what you're there for as a fan, isn't it? So I think they really need to get a positive result in this one. So I'm going to go score draw.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. We mentioned Bournemouth. They're off to Liverpool.
Yeah.
Liverpool had a horrific result last week against Forest at home. You can't see it happening again, but we have mentioned Bournemouth probably more than we will ever do again in this entire season. And everything we've mentioned about Bournemouth has been pretty positive. Yeah. You know, they should have more points. They've been robbed a little bit. They're a decent side. They're off to Anfield. Out of the two, you'd fancy Bournemouth to get more of a result at Anfield than Forest, and Forest got it. But maybe Bournemouth play a little bit more expansive, which might suit Liverpool.
Well, yeah, and we mentioned blueprints a lot, like the way, watch the analysis of Nottingham Forest, the way they stifled Liverpool last week, that's the way to go. But then if you are, like you said, a bit more of an attacking manager, that's when the gaps start to open for Liverpool. It's going to be very interesting, isn't it? Arne Slot's had so much praise, especially for like the way he broke down Manchester United and all this stuff. But it's like, how do you react to that? AC Milan's a completely different game for me. It's these 3 o'clock kickoffs at Anfield on a Saturday against a lower, lesser team that you have to win and not have to do it comfortably, but you can't have a scare again.
I think Liverpool will win that game, but you know what? That's just the complete and utter horse shit that we live in, isn't it? In relation to the modern analysis of football. I mean, the amount of people who were whacking one out to Arne Slot on the bloody touchline after the win at Old Trafford. Oh, look at that! Ten Hag's been here for 2 years, and Arne Slot's just dismantled him in 40 seconds. And then, 2 weeks later, he gets dismantled by Forest in his own backyard. I mean, football is simple and as it is hard, and I think people just. They start trying to write blueprints on genius too quickly. I think unfortunately, Liverpool and Arsenal, as we've said before, are susceptible to these Brightons at homes, these Forests at homes, that Man City have made an absolute art out of never doing, and that's why they're so hard to beat. I don't think there's anything vulnerable or weak about Arsenal or Liverpool dropping points. I just think they are mere mortals in a league that has a juggernaut in it. I don't think it's fair play to Liverpool fans. They haven't overreacted to losing to Forest because I think these results happen. Used to happen with Sir Alex. I remember going to Southampton in the grey kit and getting beaten 6-3. We were still the best team in the league at the time. The trouble is Man City have turned this league into what PSG did with the French league and what Bayern have done with the German league, where it's just heavily stacked in their favour because you expect them to win every game. And it's hard. And it's actually not palatable. You don't want Arsenal winning every game because then you're watching them play Villa and Bournemouth and you're like, well, they need to win this game. They will win this game.
Well, you want that sort of like, you want the Premier League title to be rounded up and finished off with teams winning it with about 70 to 80 points, don't you? Yeah. You don't want high-end 90 pushing 100 because it just shows the competitive nature's not there.
It was boring when Liverpool and Man City went toe-to-toe a few times and they both just won their last 10 games.
It was a little bit, but it was a bit fresh then.
It's great, but it's also boring. I'd rather Man City lost another 3 or 4 games and won the league. I think they'd be more endearing than they are as a juggernaut.
Yeah, but
it is what it is.
And it's just we've had
built a monster,
and we could have the 5 years of the monster as well, couldn't we? Yeah. Tottenham Brentford. Now this almost ties into your category, I think, for Big Ange. It's definitely his big game of the season, for biggest game of the season, I think, after the Arsenal result, because there's so much pressure building on him. They've managed to stay in the Carabao Cup by the skinniest of margins, and I just feel a loss against the Brentford, that just stokes the fire of all these Big Ange out haters.
I saw someone on Twitter the other day who made me laugh, and they said, I wish Big Minge would get out of my club.
Big Minge?
Yeah. Do you know what a minge is?
Yeah, I know what a minge is.
I don't really know what the connotations are, but it did make me laugh.
Oh, right.
They'd obviously had enough.
Just calling him Big Minge.
Yeah. I mean, some people might see it as a positive.
Big Mange.
Yeah. Anyway, God knows what that was all about.
You've got a very childish sense of humour, really.
I've got a childish sense of humour. I still think if someone walked into that door now and said poo and ran out, I'd probably laugh.
That would be good.
Just, I'd laugh.
Depends who it was. If it was Sue.
I like Ange. And
he's Minge.
I forgot the word. I like Minge. I like Ange, and I think he's the right guy at the wrong club.
No, I disagree.
No, I think Spurs have. No, I think even. Yes. I think even Spurs fans would admit good managers get swallowed up at Spurs because of this massive problem they've got that's been going on for years. If you speak to any Spurs fans, they're quite open to it. They don't like it, but they're quite open to the fact that there's an identity problem at that football club. And it's not... The best thing to do is acknowledge it, because it's not a simple thing to get rid of. The only way to get rid of it is to start winning things, and winning things, you've got to get rid of it. And that's what he's trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think
he's got the right personality to do it.
Yeah.
But it's just... The reason I'd say he's at the wrong club is because there's that battle going on, isn't it? The problem at Tottenham is the inner battle.
But the battle needs to happen.
Yeah.
The battle needs to happen now.
And he needs to win.
Yeah, and I think he will win.
And I think the ridicule of Ange about his second season, and then people start going through all the clubs that he's managed. I mean...
I think he got... Like, you're going to get things wrong. He's not going to be the...
Everyone's managed Barcelona and Bayern with an open checkbook before they go to City.
But I think he got that wrong just in the timing when he did that. And, like, you are going to get things wrong as a manager. But ultimately, for everything that you've just said, I think that's why he is the perfect man, because you've got to be a strong character. And being a strong character, people will go, well, they've had Mourinho and they've had Conte. Their expectations were far too much for that team, where Big Ange has come in from a Celtic, and I think he has got that sort of level of expectation, but plus the winning mentality where he can do it.
What I will say is Brentford at home's not easy.
No.
They've had a good start to the season. They only lost 2-1 to City. They only lost 2-0 to Liverpool, so they're good away from home. They've had a good start to the season. Thomas Frank doing a great job again. They've then got United at Old Trafford, and then they've got Brighton at Brighton. The trouble is, it's similar to what Ten Hag's got, really. There's no slippage. I don't think Ange should be being discussed as being sacked or anything like that, but results drive agendas. And if they were to not beat Brentford and then lose to United, they'd have 5 points from 18? That's bad.
But I think the way you can go into that is performance as well. Like, if you can show good performances against, especially when you're playing Man United, like, I think that's how they can salvage
Brentford
that.
Apparently don't have Wizza, according to BFPL.
Alisson's out for Liverpool as well.
What's wrong with him?
He's injured. Injured
for Alisson. So, yeah, I'll go with Spurs win, because I think they have to win.
Yeah, I'm going to go Spurs win as well, because I don't like Brentford.
Have we missed anybody?
We've got the big game on Sunday, which actually isn't at the Etihad.
Brighton, Leicester.
I've not got a thingy on here, actually. Brighton play Forest.
At home.
At home on Sunday.
I can see Forest getting a point there, you know. I think
Leicester-Everton on Saturday.
Brighton not beating Ipswich at home. Great point for Ipswich, but they'd be disappointed with
Forest
that.
Look good this year.
And Forest have been okay, so I'd say maybe a point there. And
Leicester-Everton. Everton have got to win.
They've got to win.
I think Leicester will win that. They've looked quite sparky.
How many games have we had in the Prem? 4. I mean, if you lose 5 in a row and you lose to Leicester, you've got to be... I don't care how much you like Dyche. You've got to be going... I mean, that's what I'm saying about Ange and Ten Hag. I don't think it's the right thing to remove those managers, but lose at the weekend and you start to look at... Well, there comes a point at any club where you've got to go... It's almost like management's changed. Last year we had this chat, didn't we, about nobody'd been sacked until Steve Cooper at Christmas. Whereas in previous years, you'd probably had 4 or 5. And, you know, it's good in a way that many clubs are now being more patient. But it's almost it might go the other way, where they get too patient because they don't want to pay the money. Yeah. And I think if Dyche loses against Leicester, I think you've got to sack him.
Really?
I think they'll still stay up if they want to keep him. But if you want to be... Why are you keeping him then? The football's crap. You're going to be in the bottom half again, and the football's crap, and you know, but we won't get relegated because we hope there'll be 3 teams worse than us. I just think that if you lose 5 games and one of them's Leicester,
but with the where they're at and with the ownership and with everything going on, you're not going to be able to attract a good manager. So you're only going to be able to attract a Dyche again.
Financial, that's what I mean. I think a lot of clubs now.
No, but I don't know. But it's financial, and also like it's chaos. Like, you're not coming into like a clear setting and a clear grounding of like, oh, I can really take ownership of this club, which I think most managers want.
You know what Everton need to do?
Win.
And there's plenty of them out there. They need to go and get a forward-thinking, modern coach who can motivate the players and build a team that their fans are proud of, and they won't be that expensive. That's what they need to go and do, but they won't do that because it's risky. If I wasn't doing my career mode at 3, I would be available, but...
and you actually believe that?
No, I think the Premier League, there are so many teams like Bournemouth and Fulham and Ipswich who are potentially going to be in relegation battles who actually play a good brand of football. And I think
what's a good...
Everton have got
good brand of football, such a generic phrase.
They've got no identity.
Yeah, but fine, I agree Everton have a stinking season, but
Emery plays good football. He's not like Pep.
Southampton play a good brand of football, but they're absolutely stinking.
They don't, though.
They do.
They don't.
No, but some people would say they do.
I don't think they do. I was very intrigued to watch Southampton last week with all this possession, and I watched them and I thought...
Well, I think they altered it a bit last week, didn't they?
Yeah, they shit themselves, that's why.
Daniel, thank you for yours.
The real deal came to town.
Fucking hell.
United.
Daniel says, our Guile fan here will reckon we'll be in the same league next season. No, we won't be in the same league next season. And that brings us on to EFL Watch.
Okay.
To round out the show. You okay?
Yeah.
Something
I
else
thought we were finishing then.
No, we just got EFL. EFL Watch this week. Sunderland versus Middlesbrough. Big one for its time.
He lost last week to Plymouth.
Yep.
Coventry playing.
Swansea. Lost in the Cup this week. Rotherham versus Birmingham City.
You'll beat them.
You had a good time,
I know
didn't
you
you?
said something about Rotherham.
Steady on.
No.
You had a good time at the St Andrews?
Yeah, you support Blues, so it's not really... I don't count your League One team because you've basically picked the dominant force, as I saw on Monday. They will do that with their reserves.
It's the first time anyone in 15 years or 20 years has called us a dominant
fair
force.
Play, Birmingham are going to absolutely blitz that league. So, yeah, easy. Who've Charlton got, who are doing very well.
Charlton have got Blackpool.
At home.
And who's in charge of Blackpool?
Steve Bruce.
Wow.
Yeah.
Steve Bruce coming to
He's
town.
had more clubs than Tiger Woods.
Exactly. Notts County versus Gillingham. That's first versus second in the league.
I'm looking forward to that.
We'll be down there.
If Notts County had anything about them, they'd have invited me down to do a vlog.
Yeah, which you just said no to.
No, I wouldn't.
On a Saturday.
Get myself down Meadow Lane.
3 o'clock.
Oh, Man United, yeah.
Yeah, steady on. Chesterfield versus Cheltenham as well to round out that. So we'll be there. Get your...
Solihull Moors, home to Southend.
Yes.
And they're doing well after 2 away wins.
And we do mention them in every single podcast.
It's tough to get out of the National League, but they've had 2 away wins in a row, and manager plays a decent brand of football.
Yes.
Watch out, Goodison Park.
Also, get your Pratt of the Week nominations in like you normally do, but I think we'd like to continue on this sort of saving football angle. So if there's any goals that you think we might have missed from, absolute thunder bastards, tweet me or Mark and we'll mention them on Monday as well.
Yeah.
Let's save football together.
Yeah. Fantastic show as always. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. If you're on podcast, then of course give us a follow on there. Romeo says Sol Campbell is not a traitor. I feel like that's a whole podcast in itself.
Yes, which we are doing next Monday.
Thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget my Goldbridge EAFC career mode is at 3 o'clock on Friday on my channel if you want to tune in for that. What are you doing at 3 o'clock on Friday?
I'll be watching that.
Thank you. Take care, everyone. Speak to you in a bit.